Welcome back. Now, after the horrific kidnapping, humiliation, and torture of a white man by 4 blacks, the internet started buzzing with the hashtag BLM kidnapping. But let's not jump to conclusions. I was careful not to. After using the hashtag once, I deleted it and then delivered these. I can't and I won't sit here and say this was a Black Lives Matter motivated act. We don't know that. I do hope the group comes out and makes it clear these thugs are not what BLM stands for. I hope to see that. I hope to see the group loudly and visibly reject this attack, because this kind of attack should shock and anger all of us as Americans. This is not who we are. These 4 thugs are just that, thugs. But no ties to BLM have been made yet, so let's be fair. Joining me now, the host of the Tim Black Show, Tim Black. Tim, thanks for being with me tonight.
Hey, thank you, Tomi, for having me. I appreciate it.
I think it's a conversation worth having, and like I mentioned in my opening there, I did use that hashtag once because that was what was trending, and I do think that that was unfair. I deleted it, and I also told others that were friends of mine that I think did it not with poor intentions, but they were just misinformed. I told them that they should delete it as well. I don't think it's fair. BLM did not take credit for it. They were not associated to BLM that we know of at this point. But do you think that the alt-right is to blame for that hashtag trending?
It could be. I think people just see a hashtag trending and they want to jump into the conversation. I really don't have a problem with that. I'm glad to hear that you did not assign this to Black Lives Matter because, Black Lives Matter is an organization. Then you got people who just say Black Lives Matter is a hashtag, so that's a kind of separate thing. But, yeah, I don't know who to put that on. The internet's such a big space. I don't think we need to assign blame for who used the hashtag.
Right, which is what's frustrating to me is because those same folks that were so upset that the BLM kidnapping hashtag was trending and placing the blame on the Black Lives Matter movement, those same folks were also blaming this on the alt-right, but not only blaming it on the alt-right, because I do believe that those that define themselves as the alt-right are disgusting individuals by and large, but they also like to group in just regular conservatives with the alt-right as well, assigning that label, which I think is also unfair. So how do we navigate this?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm against grouping. Like, groups to me are what's really the problem here. Whenever you ever have a group out there and people want to assign themselves to it, you get labeled by the group. And the worst common denominator of your group is what you get associated with. That's why I'm really against us as a group. But let's just be the human species, let's be the human race, and let's stick to that group. But how do you combat it? I don't know. Maybe information, maybe making sure that your rhetoric isn't the type of rhetoric that gets you lumped in with these people. I don't know where you go with that.
Now, a problem that I've had, because I have been a vocal opponent of Black Lives Matter, not in this particular case, because we know that Black Lives Matter hasn't been tied to this. As of yet, we've seen no ties. It's a fair statement to make. But in other situations, Black Lives Matter have been kind of at the forefront in a lot of these protests that have turned into riots and these demonstrations that have gotten out of hand. And this is the group Black Lives Matter that have said, we are Black Lives Matter, this is our organization, and the protests have not been peaceful or respectful in many cases. So I want to know, how is this group going to define itself moving forward? Because we know that there are bad eggs, and to be fair, there are several bad eggs within that movement. How is that movement going to move forward and kind of re-legitimize itself after some of the riots?
How should Black Lives Matter move forward? I think they should continue doing what they're doing, what's in their heart to do. They need to, I got a problem with them coming out saying, denouncing this activity. I don't see why they would need to do that when they weren't associated with it. I like certain football teams, If I go to the stadium and there's some fans acting crazy, I'm not going to get blamed for something someone else does out there, in the stands. And I take it that they should be the same way. What do they do moving forward? I don't know. I mean, like I said, when you have a group and people in your group act a certain way, this is what you have to deal with. But these particular people on this particular hashtag, this kidnapping in Chicago, this horrible thing that happened, hey, man, these people, just because they're black doesn't mean their Black Lives Matter. So I don't see a connection between it other than the fact we got black-skinned people.
Yeah, and you're right, referring to this incident, and, it wasn't fair, and I did caution others, because I do think that all eyes are on us in the media, and I'm well aware of that all eyes are on us, especially when you have a voice, and you have to be careful with that voice. And I did use the hashtag once, and I'm not proud of the fact that I used it. It wasn't an ill intent. It's what I saw was trending, and then I did some more research into it, and I deleted it, and I said, you know what, it's not fair. I think that if we can learn to do that and take responsibility and say, you know what, hey, in this instance, I was wrong, and I corrected it, moving forward, I think that's going to be positive. positive for the country as a whole. But, you know, I know this is a loaded question because if we had the answer, we would kind of alleviate a lot of the problems. But moving forward with a Trump administration, we know that there have been claims of racism, that the Trump administration is going to be racist, that Trump himself is racist. Moving forward, we are going to have him inaugurated next Friday. How do we unite the country behind what is going to be our president?
Well, you know what? I think, first of all, we have to look at the media. You know, you and I, we have a big responsibility to those who have big audiences. That comes with the party. You know, that comes with the contract. You know, you have to carry that. I think the media is part of the problem. They keep on focusing on, you know, the rhetoric of Donald Trump at certain times and dicing out certain pieces and railing up people, getting people excited. And I think it's just wrong. And I think it was done mostly to prop up Hillary Clinton. So I totally disagree with that. Now, if you're going to report it correctly. I think the more independent media that comes out, that's less divisive. And Tommy, yourself, you know, you've been divisive a number of times. I'm glad to hear. I'm hoping that you're coming into the light here as far as, you know, we have to be very careful what we say because people take us by our word and they will add in any little, they're looking for validation for bigotry. And I don't ascribe to it. I'm hoping that you go the same way.
No, I do. And that's why, like I said, in this instance, when I'm wrong, and I'll admit it. Sure. When I don't think I'm wrong, when I stand in my truth, I will stand firmly in my truth. That's something that my fans, my followers, and my haters know about me is, you know, I don't back down. If I'm not going to back down, I'm not going to back down. But if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. And I think that that's the mentality we should all have. But, you know, moving forward with the Trump administration, there's been a lot of claims of racism. I'm not really sure where they're all coming from. You know, you personally, do you feel that Donald Trump is a racist, given his track record? Especially, you know, he desegregated the Mar-a-Lago club. He was one of the first to do so, especially in that area. He's been on the Celebrity Apprentice and The Apprentice, and he's had a lot of celebrities that were African-American that were singing his praises before he ran for office. And then all of a sudden they turned on him and say he's a racist. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Well, you know, celebrities aren't people. I hate to say it that way, but they're not regular people, Tommy. You know, I look at celebrities, like that's not the reason why I don't think he's racist. I don't think Donald Trump is racist. First of all, I have no way to know it because I don't know the guy. I only know what the media tells me about the guy. But if you go back before this election, if you go back to a time when he was just hosting shows, I don't think that was the first thing that popped into people's head. We just thought he's a rich guy, and how can I be rich too? And I think this whole election is sort of gave us different sides and told us these things that are negative. So I think people should have an open mind going forward. That's all you can do. He's your president. He is the president. I'm not with this whole resistance thing. I don't know what they're resisting. I say, let's resist poverty. Let's resist our environment going down the toilet. Let's resist these things that we can actually affect. You can't affect the fact that he is now president.
And I hope to see some kind of an optimism as well, an optimism that I would have felt if Hillary Clinton were elected. I would have said, what is the best possible Hillary Clinton we could have in office, and what is the best way to shape that administration to benefit all Americans? I'm hoping that the same folks do that and give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt, because he will be our 45th president. So it does no good to say not my president and scream and whine about it. But Tim, thanks for being with me. Thanks for having the conversation. Hope to have you back very soon.
All right now. Thank you.